video link. Good morning, Ambrose, and thank you for joining us this morning. Welcome aboard.
Thank you so much. Good morning, Gitonga. How are you?
Good morning to you. Very well, thank you. So we'll go straight into where we are on the daily, on the Standard rather, and this is to do with the purge that we saw in Jubilee that started off in the Senate with Majority Leader Kipchumba Murkomen being kicked out. We expect this may now go to the National Assembly, and according to this particular story on the Standard, it says the BBI purge begins. So, Ambrose Weda, maybe to get your thoughts on this, particularly given that this may be in preparation to ensure that the Building Bridges Initiative proposal goes and sees the light of day.
Yeah, I think it is not the BBI purge. The BBI purge may be the beneficiary along the way. I think it is basically there was a perception that the deputy president was in control of the two organs. His people are in charge of the Senate. His people are in charge of the National Assembly. And I think the move is to cut them, to remove them in the vital places so that if issues were to come to Parliament like BBI, then they will not be able to sabotage it because time is of essence. And maybe is perceived to be a person who would be able, who would want to derail the process of reviewing the Constitution to bring in maybe other seats and other people. That is my take on it.
All right. Do you see it escalating to the National Assembly? Of course, we have already seen what happened in the Senate, and it is expected that it's going to happen in the National Assembly.
Definitely. I suspect that there are some people who are in various places that may have to be cut to size or to be threatened or to be scared in such a way that now when they are told they will be voting, then they vote according to party line. And party line here will be in line with the desires of the president. So it would serve two purposes: to threaten, to scare, and also to put them, to whip them in order. So some people who are maybe perceived to be tough-headed may be hit. They'll be knocked on the head somehow so that they toe the line.
All right, there's also a story on page 9 of the Standard where there is a PG meeting expected sometime May 26th, and there are those who have been called for the meeting, but again, there are those in Jubilee who apparently are not going to be, well, they've not received any invitation. And this particular story is written, Ruto camp kept out of Uhuru meeting. This again, of course, is in line with what we would call the Jubilee cleanup. Those allied to the deputy president have not received some of the invites, whereas those allied to the president are, in the know of this. Again, what do you expect or what do you see coming out of this kind of division that we already see in Jubilee? Again, this being the party that is, basically in government right now.
Yeah, I think there are a few people who may be tough enough to tell the president in the face. So some of those few ones allied maybe to the deputy president who are tough may not be invited because they may raise their hand, say something, and this can encourage others and then ferment rebellion. So the loyal and the fumbling, the ones who are weak, are the ones who will be called and then they are put to order. What is here is that I've always said that there are some people in the Uhuru one. When I say Uhuru one, I say the first 5 years of President Uhuru's term. That was a time when the deputy president was really powerful and ruling, and he stepped on some toes. Now, these toes, these people fear his presidency. And I think now they are the ones near the president, they're the ones who the president listens to. So they will cut the deputy president to size completely, irregardless, to use the president's word, whether it tears down Jubilee or whether it works or whether the party will be there or it will win the next election. It's about now and preparations for elections. So they seem to be prepared to do what it takes, even if it tears down Jubilee. And as long as Honorable Raila's team are in the box, as long as Honorable Kalonzo's team are in the box, then they know that the team that is allied to the deputy president may not necessarily have a strong voice that can shake the government, even if there was a disagreement. That is where they have the basis of their full confidence.
All right. Well, they say 2 years before 2022 for politics is a long, long time. And this, of course, is possibly as Jubilee gets ready for 2022. But let's wait and see how that is going to pan out. Let's move on to page 10 of the Standard. And this particular story is titled, "Tough Times Drive City Folk to Sell Fresh Food from Their Cars." And this, as you drive around, many of us may have noticed there are many cars which are parked on the roundabouts and places where there are bumps just for fruit vendors and people to literally try and make a living out of selling food. Of course, we know food is one of those things, regardless of the pandemic, people must eat. But maybe, Weda, just to get your thoughts, we're going to be discussing this later on with an economist, but maybe just to get your thoughts on the 8-point stimulus package that the president launched on Saturday.
Yeah, I think the stimulus package is basically a drop in the ocean. We are going to face tough times that are occasioned by the pandemic, in the sense that you look at it, that the world is not moving, and the trade is what sustains the economies. So the impact caused by the lack of movement, lack of trade, and then we will then experience the fear element that hits the economy. People will not continue moving, people will be waiting to see. So there will be a world depression which has already started, and it will hit big economies, it will hit small economies. So these tough times are expected. That package that the president unveiled was basically to cushion the lower part, and it's hardly 10% of what we needed. We would have been like America, where you print all the money and it has value. Then we need almost $1 trillion shillings. Take it that we are a 3 trillion shilling economy, almost a 2 trillion GDP. So something like 60 billion, if you calculate the percentage, it is very, very, very low. Also adding on this that people sell foodstuffs on their cars because of tough times. No. It is a good thing. In fact, what I would call in Kiswahili kiburi, middle class, is what is bringing poverty. We are sitting and many of us are eating and we are not producing. It is very good for each one of us to produce some food also and to sell, to exchange to each other. Even the creator of all things wants you to have 7 or 8 ventures. So I would call it that the COVID-19 pandemic has given us new talents, not hard economics, and new talents which people should explore even after we come back to stability and some level of prosperity. This thing of wearing a tie and looking great and feeling you cannot grow oranges, you cannot grow mangoes, you cannot grow potatoes, that you are too big, too educated, should always come to an end. And if it is COVID-19 that has caused it, we appreciate and we will learn and put it down. I grow a few things where I live and I eat them. I eat my lemon from the farm, and it is good. I have my chicken occasionally. So this is how things work, and it is good for us.
All right, we'll move on now to the Daily Nation, where the headline is Uhuru's plan to reopen Kenya. As he spoke on Saturday and gave the address, one of the things that he mentioned, or he seemed to allude to, is the fact that at some point, which of course is obvious, but it sounded like sooner than later, that we'll have to do is reopen the country, but of course put the responsibility on Kenyans and say, even if that happens, then we definitely would have to be more responsible. So, eye on the economy. Your thoughts on whether it would be too soon to reopen Kenya?
I think if we continue behaving well and having the numbers of infections going down, because that is what we are taking into account. If that was to continue on the positive trend, then you will find that the economy will be reopened. And the reopening would be step by step. You open sectors, you open places, you open the less vulnerable. So it would be good for us to look at, for instance, now curfew has been starting at 7 o'clock. That curfew can be removed or it can be pushed to 9 o'clock so that some business goes on in the evening. It will be a step by step, and you look at the world economies, those who have been able to manage the spread, they are opening up the economy. So we are hopeful, and we continue appealing to fellow Kenyans, those who don't have any business to go loitering out, please stay at home. Just leave those who have something to do for the country, for humanity, to walk out. You see, when everything is just open and it is hand to do, then there are quite a number who just loiter. If you are loitering and you have the virus, you spread it. So I'm hopeful that some restrictions may be removed. It is good if they are removed so that parts of the economy gets moving.
All right. There's also a story on page 3 of the Nation, which is to do with MP Kositani goes back to court over Jubilee matters. Now, just maybe your thoughts, particularly as a lawyer, on what he may be trying to get to. And this is after Jubilee Party was reorganized. The leadership was reorganized. And of course, those particularly allied to the deputy president have alleged and said that it was an illegal, reshuffle of the management. But that was initially thrown out of court. So he's back in court, and Mr. Kositani accuses the party leadership of failure to establish a mechanism to have the NMC conundrum solved internally. Do you see as, maybe just to get your thoughts on what his objective might be, Weda?
It could be having two objectives. Number one, it would be seeking justice, in which event the courts would always take the position that you exhaust the internal mechanisms of dispute resolution in the party, then you go through the tribunal and all that. And courts appear also to be reluctant to interfere in the private or in the affairs of organizations, especially political parties. And there is obviously gross violation of the Constitution or law in a way that cannot be resolved internally. But I think his main focus is to do what is called the nuisance value. Let's muddy the waters. Let's fight. Let's spread the war so that there is an element of sympathy. There's an element of you show you are brave. You didn't go down without a fight, and you didn't also to evoke emotions, especially from home. When you are working, then you're looking at your supporters. You want a situation where they'll tell you that when you are under attack, then you are strong, you are brave. A time will come when people go back to their villages and they talk tribe, they talk nations. When we the Kalenjins, or we the Luos, or we the Kus, or we the Kisses, when we were doing the we, I was strong enough, I was brave enough, so and so was coward, he was nowhere. So he may also be doing that along.
All right, and maybe as we wind up and as we finish, there is an article that maybe I just get to get your thoughts. Coronavirus vaccine tests set to start. There are vaccine tests that are set to start in Mombasa and Lamu on the coronavirus. Yes. Maybe just to get your thoughts on this, particularly the legal side of it. I know there was a number of narratives that had been given as to why Kenyans should resist any attempts to have the vaccine tested on them, but KEMRI has are behind this and would like to assume that they've done their due diligence. But your thoughts on this, Weda?
I think that is very good news. It is wonderful. You thank God that we are part of the team that are selected. Remember, to be tested, to be one of the people used, it is voluntary. And these vaccines all over the world, they must be tested, first of all, in the primates, in the rabbits and rats. But before it is used on human beings, it has to be tested. And this testing goes through the human races. You'll find that the virus that works on me may not work very well on the Asian in India, may not work very well on somebody in China or in parts of Australia. So usually they take the various races for testing, and it will never be administered until it is tested on human beings. Remember the malaria medicine that is being used in Kenya generally, especially for children. It is tested in Seme Kombewa, where I come from. That is where Walter it is. Our children, our people are being used to test. So if it falls on us today that the vaccine for COVID-19 it has to be tested on us. So be it. If it happens that they need an apple like me to be tested, I am ready. The time comes when some people have to pay the price. Even the freedom we enjoy today, people like that and Kibaki died for it. Some people went to jail for it. So those who are opposing it, those who are saying it is what, they are simply telling us that Wazungus can do it. They can do it in Canada, they can do it in Italy, they can test it on themselves. If they find it working, what if they told us, okay, you also look for yours that works for you? Where will we go? So those who are making noise are not providing leadership. They don't even understand how these things are done. It is a good thing and we wish it all the best. And those, if you are called upon and you are brave enough, please volunteer. Even if it means it's your life that will save the children and the grandchildren and the generation to come, so be it.
All right, we're going to wind up the newspaper review right there. Thank you very much, Ambrose Weda, who is a lawyer, Canon Weda, for joining us this morning on the newspaper review. It brings us to 28 minutes after 7. We're going to take a short break, but when we come back, we'd like to dissect and look at the stimulus package, given by the president. He outlined it on Saturday as he was giving the press briefing. And that brings me to the question that we're asking this morning. Do you think the 53.7 billion stimulus program will help fix the economic crisis caused by the coronavirus pandemic? Do you think the 53.7 billion stimulus package program will help fix the economic crisis caused by the coronavirus pandemic? For now, we take a break. Do stay with us. We come back and we highlight and look at that.